Today, I will be ranking every single year since 2000 on tornado activity and strength. The top tier will be S tier, which is only for the years with the strongest tornadoes, going all the way down to F tier for the years that were thankfully not as devastating. I will mention fatalities from these tornadoes, but it won't affect any of my ratings. We have 25 years to go through, so without further ado, let's begin. The first year of the new millennium was of course 2000. 2000 saw an above-average amount of tornadoes in North America, nearly 1,150. Now, regarding the strength of these tornadoes, there weren't any F5 tornadoes and only 3 F4s. On March 28th, 2 people died when a strong F3 tornado hit Fort Worth, Texas. Despite that, there wasn't even an F4 until after the main tornado season on July 25th, when an F4 tornado killed one and injured one near Granite Falls, Minnesota. A few weeks before that tornado, an F3 became the deadliest of the year near Pine Lake, Alberta, as 12 people died. The next violent tornado would hit Xenia, Ohio, on September 20th, as 1 person died and 100 were injured. Then the final F4 tornado of the year would slam into Tuscaloosa, Alabama, taking 11 lives, while 144 were injured, as 9 deaths occurred in mobile homes, which is why mobile homes are so dangerous during a tornado. I will put 2000 in the high D tier. During 2001, 1,274 tornadoes occurred in North America, 6 of those being F4s, while there were 0 F5s. The deadliest tornado of the year occurred early, on February 25th, when an F3 hit Pontotoc, Mississippi, as tragically 6 died and 73 were injured. The first violent tornado of the year would occur on April 21st near Hoisington, Kansas, as 1 died and it was rated as an F4. There would end up being 6 F4 tornadoes throughout the year, as the deadliest would be on November 23rd, as 2 died and 21 were injured near Summer Tree, Mississippi. I will rank 2001 in the low C tier. During 2002, 1,163 tornadoes occurred, including 5 F4s and 0 F5s. The deadliest tornado of the year is actually shared between 2 different tornadoes that killed 7 on the same day, November 10th. The first hit Olive Springs, Tennessee, and the second hit Fayette, Alabama. This was part of a larger tornado outbreak known as the Veterans Day outbreak, which also spawned the infamous Van Wert, Ohio F4 that killed 4 people. Also, earlier in the year was the infamous La Plata, Maryland F4, which killed 3 and was also originally rated as an F5. I will put 2002 ahead of 2001 in the C tier. During 2003, 1,449 tornadoes occurred, including 8 F4s and 0 F5s. The deadliest tornado of the year occurred on May 4th, when an F4 hit Jackson, Tennessee, as 11 people died and 86 were injured. Another notable tornado that occurred this year was the Manchester, South Dakota F4, which injured 4 people and completely wiped the town off the map, and Twistex was able to intercept this tornado with a turtle probe. There was also an F4 that went north of Moore, Oklahoma, on May 8th, injuring 134 people. I will put 2003 in the B tier. During 2004, the most confirmed tornadoes in 1 year in North America occurred, with 1,896 confirmed touchdowns, while 5 were rated F4 and 0 were rated F5. The deadliest tornado of the year tragically killed 111 in Bangladesh. There was also an F2 that took 9 lives in Tunisia. The deadliest U.S. tornado would hit Utica, Illinois, as 8 were killed. Also, what was at the time the widest tornado ever hit Hallam, Nebraska on May 22nd, which caused 1 death and 36 injuries, while being 2.5 miles wide. Another infamous F4 tornado would hit Roanoke, Illinois on July 13th. I will put 2004 in the C tier. During 2005, 1,524 tornadoes occurred, with 0 F5s and only 1 F4. Another F unknown would hit Bangladesh, claiming 33 lives, being the deadliest tornado of the year. The deadliest in the U.S. would actually be an extremely tragic tornado, the Evansville F3, which caused 24 fatalities. The one F4 tornado would impact Arlington, Kentucky. I will put 2005 in the D tier. During 2006, 1,247 tornadoes occurred, 2 being F4 and once again 0 F5s. The deadliest tornado of the year was an F3 that hit Millsfield, Kentucky, as tragically 16 people died. The first violent tornado of the year tracked north of Paris, Missouri, garnering an F4 rating after leveling a well-built home. Thankfully, there will be 0 casualties. On September 22nd, the second F4 tornado injured 6 people near Crosstown, Illinois. I will put 2006 in the D tier. 2007 was a huge year for tornadoes in the United States as we transitioned into the EF scale. And we would also see the return of the highest rating on the Fujita scale after the longest drought ever so far. The deadliest tornado of the year was an EF3 near Lake Mack, Florida, which took 13 lives. The first EF5 of the year would hit Greensburg, Kansas on May 4th, causing devastating damage, as it caused 11 deaths and injured 63. Because Canada still used the F scale, the only F5 in Canadian history would occur when an F5 hit Ely, Manitoba. Thankfully, 0 casualties occurred. I will put 2007 in the A tier. 2008 was another extremely significant year, with of course the infamous Super Tuesday outbreak, which caused 4 EF4 tornadoes, along with the deadliest tornado of the year, which hit Lafayette, Tennessee, which killed 22. There was also a very long track EF4, which devastated Clinton and Mountain View, Arkansas, tragically causing 13 deaths. A very well-known EF4 impacted Pitcher, Oklahoma, as many believe it should have been an EF5, as it caused 21 fatalities. Then, a devastating EF4 hit Parkersburg, Iowa, as 9 people died and 70 were injured. I will put 2008 in the A tier, just below 2007. After 2 crazy years, 2009 was thankfully much more quiet. The deadliest tornado of the year was a catastrophic F4 that hit San Pedro, Argentina, as 17 people died. The deadliest U.S. tornado would impact Lone Grove, Oklahoma, causing 8 fatalities. There was also another EF4 on April 10th, which impacted Murfreesboro, as 2 fatalities occurred and 58 were injured. I will put 2009 in the high D tier. 2010 went right back to an active year, with 13 EF4 tornadoes occurring. A very long track EF4 would cross most of Mississippi as a 1.75-mile wide wedge, doing EF4 damage to Yazoo City, Mississippi, as 10 were killed, and it would be the deadliest tornado of the year. Another EF4 would impact south of Moore, Oklahoma, as tragically 2 died and 49 were injured. On June 3rd, an EF4 claimed 7 lives and injured 28 south of Toledo, Ohio. Also, a very photogenic EF4 would impact Bowdle, South Dakota, as thankfully there would be 0 casualties. I will put 2010 into the B tier. 2011 is what I believe to be the most significant tornado year in recorded history, as there was EF5 after EF5, as it also saw one of the worst tornado outbreaks ever. The 2011 super outbreak began with the Philadelphia EF5, which caused 1-foot-deep trenches, as 3 people died. Despite this, it would become a forgotten EF5. Next, the deadliest tornado of the outbreak would devastate Hackleburg and Phil Campbell, Alabama, as 72 people died, as it was rated as an EF5. The next EF5 was the Smithville tornado, which tragically killed 23. One tornado that wasn't rated EF5 was the Tuscaloosa, Birmingham EF4, as it, at the time, was the costliest tornado in history, and 64 people died. The last EF5 would be the Rainsville tornado that caused 25 fatalities. Some other notable tornadoes that weren't rated EF5 would be the Coleman Arab EF4, Cordoba EF4, New Wren EF3, Trenton Flat Rock EF4, Fackler EF4, Sawyerville Ealine EF3, the Enterprise EF4, Shoal Creek Valley EF4, Ringgold EF4, and Lake Martin EF4. This would already be enough for this year to go down in history, but 2011 was still far from over. On May 22nd, the deadliest tornado since 1947 obliterated Joplin, Missouri, as an unfathomable 161 people died. It also did an absurd $3 billion in damages, breaking the recently set record by the Tuscaloosa Birmingham EF4. That still wouldn't be it, because on April 24th, another EF5 would hit El Reno in Piedmont, Oklahoma, as it would cause 9 fatalities, being the final EF5 of a horrible year of tornadoes. 2011 easily goes into the S tier. 2012 was a much-needed break compared to 2011, but it still saw 4 EF4 tornadoes and 0 EF5s. On March 2nd, the deadliest tornado of the year would occur in early March, with an EF4 that impacted Henryville, Indiana, as 11 fatalities occurred. On February 29th, an EF4 tornado would tragically cause 8 fatalities and 108 injuries near Harrisburg, Illinois. The next EF4 would impact Crittenden, Kentucky, as 4 fatalities occurred. The final EF4 of the year would impact Marquette, Kansas, as thankfully 0 fatalities or injuries occurred. I will put 2012 in the B tier. In 2013, 2 of the most infamous tornadoes ever would occur. First was the Newcastle Moore EF5, which caused extraordinary damage to the Oklahoma City area, as 24 people died and 212 were injured. It was the second tornado to be rated F or EF5 and hit Moore, Oklahoma, after the 1999 tornado. On May 31st, an EF3 would hit El Reno, Oklahoma, as 8 people died, including the legendary Twistex tornado chasing team, which we mentioned earlier left a probe in the Manchester, South Dakota tornado, leaving an unfillable hole in the storm chasing community. It was also the widest tornado in history, with a maximum width of 2.5 miles wide, beating the record from the Hallam, Nebraska tornado. Multiple other EF4 tornadoes occurred, like the Washington, Illinois EF4, Granbury EF4, and Hattiesburg EF4. I will put 2013 into the A tier. In 2014, one of the most incredible tornado events ever would occur on June 16th of that year, when 4 EF4 tornadoes occurred in northeastern Nebraska, including the infamous Pilger twin tornadoes. On this day alone, over half of the year's violent tornadoes would occur. The deadliest tornado of the year would be a very famous EF4, which would impact Mayflower and Valonia, Arkansas, on April 26th, as 16 people died and 193 were injured. Some people still argue that today this tornado should have been rated an EF5, but build quality would prevent that, and lack of anchoring on the homes that were hit. On the same day as the Valonia tornado, another EF4 would tragically cause 10 fatalities near Louisville, Mississippi. I will put 2014 in the high B tier. 2015 didn't have as many violent tornadoes, with 3 occurring, but all of them were some very famous events. The first EF4 would impact Rochelle and Fairdale, Illinois, as it did incredible damage, causing 2 fatalities and 11 injuries. Similarly to the Valonia EF4, this tornado was highly controversial, as many people believe that this tornado should have been rated as an EF5, as it was 1 mile per hour short of that rating. The second EF4 of the year would occur on December 23rd in Holly Springs, Mississippi, as 9 fatalities occurred. Then, one day after Christmas, an EF4 would hit Garland and Rowlett, Texas, being the deadliest tornado of the year, causing 10 deaths and over 400 injuries. I will put 2015 in the C tier. 2016 was a much-needed break from all these very significant tornado years, but 2016 still had a few powerful tornadoes. The first one was an EF4 that hit Katy and Wynnewood, Oklahoma, on May 9th, as one death occurred. The second and final violent tornado would hit Chapman, Kansas, which thankfully caused 0 fatalities but did injure 8 people. The deadliest tornado of the year hit Yorks Mill and Schrader, Alabama, causing 4 fatalities and 9 injuries. If this list were on the best storm-chasing years, this would be at the top, but this list is on the most intense tornadoes, so I will put 2016 in the D tier. 2017 was another quiet year of tornadoes, as not many violent ones would occur. The deadliest tornado of the year would hit Albany, Georgia early in the year on January 21st, as it was a very devastating wedge tornado that tragically killed 11. The first violent tornado would hit Perryville and Virginia, crossing the Illinois-Indiana border, and causing 1 death and 12 injuries. The second and final EF4 would hit Jackson, Texas, as 2 died and 25 were injured. I will put 2017 in the D tier. 2018 was the quietest year on tornado strength that I will mention this entire video, as 0 violent tornadoes would affect the U.S., while 1 EF4 hit Lake Manitoba in Canada, as 1 death occurred and 5 were injured. On November 2nd, the deadliest tornado of the year would be an EF1 that went south of Baltimore, Maryland. I will put 2018 in the F tier. 2019 was a very significant year for tornadoes compared to the last few. First, an EF4 would impact La Habana, Cuba, causing 8 fatalities and 200 injuries. The first U.S. EF4 and the deadliest tornado of the year was a devastating EF4 that hit Smith Station and Beauregard, Alabama, as 23 deaths occurred. On May 27th, another EF4 hit north of Dayton, Ohio, which caused 166 injuries and thankfully 0 fatalities. The next day, another EF4 hit Linwood, Kansas, as 4 people were injured and thankfully 0 died. I will put 2019 into the C tier. 2020 was a big year for tornadoes, as multiple violent ones would occur. The deadliest tornado of the year would be the first EF4, which impacted Cookeville, Tennessee, on March 2nd, as tragically 19 deaths occurred. The Easter Sunday outbreak was the worst tornado outbreak of 2020, as a 2-mile-wide EF4 impacted Soso and Bassfield, Mississippi, as 8 people died. Before this, a low-end EF4 would impact Sartonsville, Mississippi, as 4 people died. Later in that day, another EF4 hit Estill, South Carolina, as 5 people died and 60 were injured. A week after the Easter Sunday outbreak, an EF4 would hit Purvis, Mississippi, as 1 fatality occurred. On July 8th, the final EF4 of the year hit Dalton, Minnesota, as 1 person died and 2 were injured. I will put 2020 in the B tier. 2021 is remembered for 1 day on December 10th, but a forgotten EF4 would occur earlier in the year on March 25th, which impacted Noonan, Georgia. Then, on December 10th, an EF4 would impact Monette, Arkansas, as this tornado has now been named the Tri-State EF4, as 9 died and 16 were injured. Then, later in the night, an EF4 tornado would rip through parts of western Kentucky, the most devastated community being Mayfield, as 58 people died and 515 were injured. Next, 17 people died from an EF3 that hit Bowling Green, Kentucky. I will put 2021 in the C tier. 2022 was thankfully not as deadly as 2021, but it still experienced many violent tornadoes. The first EF4 of the year hit Winterset, Iowa, as 6 people died, as it would be the deadliest tornado of the year. The second EF4 hit Black Creek, Georgia, as 1 fatality occurred along with 12 injuries. On November 4th, a significant tornado outbreak occurred over northeast Texas and Oklahoma, as 2 EF4s occurred, one near Idabel, Oklahoma, and the other near Cavanes, Texas. I will put 2022 in the C tier. 2023 had only 3 EF4 tornadoes, and 2 of them are relatively forgotten, but one of those EF4s was one of the worst of the decade. On March 24th, an EF4 would devastate Rolling Fork and Silver City, Mississippi, as 17 people died. On March 31st, a widespread tornado outbreak would cause an EF4 near Keota, Iowa, as 3 injuries occurred. On July 1st, the final EF4 of the year hit Didsbury, Alberta, as 1 person was injured. I will put 2023 into the D tier. 2024 saw many violent tornadoes throughout the year, and was another significant tornado year. The first EF4 hit Elkhorn, Nebraska, as 4 injuries occurred. The next EF4 hit Marietta, Oklahoma, as 1 fatality occurred and 6 were injured. On May 6th, Barnsdall, Oklahoma was hit by an EF4, which devastated the town. The deadliest tornado of the year occurred on May 25th, as it hit Pilot Point, Texas, with 7 fatalities occurring, along with 100 injuries. On May 21st, an EF4 tornado hit Greenfield, Iowa. This tornado was one of the strongest tornadoes ever, with estimated winds of 313 miles per hour. I will put 2024 into the C tier. 2025 was the most significant year of tornadoes in over a decade, with many violent tornadoes occurring, as from March 14th to 15th, 3 violent tornadoes occurred. First was the 56 Larkin, Arkansas EF4, which injured 4 people. Next, Diaz, Arkansas was hit by a high-end EF4, which injured 2 people. The next day, Tylertown, Mississippi was hit by an EF4, which killed 6 and injured 14. On May 16th, Marion, Illinois was hit by an EF4 with estimated wind speeds of 190 miles per hour, as 7 people were injured. On the same day, the deadliest tornado of the year was an EF4 that hit London, Kentucky, as 18 deaths occurred. On June 20th, the first EF5 tornado in over 12 years would impact Enderlin, North Dakota, causing 3 fatalities and tossing several train cars. This wasn't even the end, as 2 EF4 tornadoes devastated Rio Bonito de Iguaçu and Rio Grande do Sul in Brazil. I will put 2025 into the A tier. Thank you for watching this video, and comment your thoughts on my tier list, and consider subscribing, as this took me a long time to make. Also, where do you think 2026 will stack up on this list? Will it be up with some of the most legendary tornado years of all time, or will it be forgotten like some of these ones in the lower tiers? But, of course, thank you for watching.